Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and this month we're talking all about filling that larger venue, using the advantages and the disadvantages of a larger venue to make your show really rock. And in this video, I want to talk about filling the space when it comes to a larger venue. I don't know about you. I don't know what kind of shows you've been to, what your experiences have been like. But think about the difference between going to a show, say at a local venue around, an average local venue, a small outdoor festival. I'm not trying to make fun of where you live, but I'm just saying, think about a place like that. Okay. And then think about going to Disney or Universal Studios or somewhere that really puts the emphasis into the environment to make it super engaging with lighting. Which place is cooler? Well, of course, Disney, right? Or one of those other theme parks. They're amazing, and they do an amazing job. And as lighting designers, whether you consider yourself a full-time lighting designer, a hobbyist, or anything in between, we get to do stuff like that. And so in this video, I want to talk through, and I just want to work through here in the visualizer, some different things that you can do to fill a space with light. Okay, so we're working here. This is the capture visualizer. It's the visualizer that I use. I'm going to try to make this full size, but my graphics card is not loving it. And graphics card prices are through the roof right now. So I don't really want to buy a new one. So we're here in the capture visualizer. Yep, things are responding great. It's a little fuzzy, but that's okay. It'll come back in a minute. And we're in one of the capture demo files that's a theater. It's called Teatro because they're European. And I think that's Italian for theater. And it's a really cool large venue. Now, it doesn't seat amazing amounts of people, but it's got all the pieces that you need for a large venue. It has a very large stage. It has a wide and big audience and a lot of spaces to work with. And so in the ring here, we've got some high-end shapeshifters, which are an interesting little moving light from a few years ago. They're not that popular anymore. These ones didn't have any colored white light. They just had white LEDs, which are kind of cool, but also kind of not cool. Today in this modern day where everything's got colored LEDs. Then we have, I'm just going to zoom. Let me zoom this down a little bit so we get a little higher quality. Then we have here these Roby BMFLs, stands for Bright Multifunctional Luminary, right? Maybe not. Might stand for something else on the stage. Then we've got these Elation ACL 360s. We've got some cyc lights, an LED cyc light in the back. That's just a light that's designed to light a backdrop like this. And then we've got some lights on the people, some Licos, or they could be a moving light spot. Okay. So when it comes to a venue like this, of course, the first thing I'm always going to do, right, is light the money, light the talent, make sure they're lit. But then let's talk about filling the space with light. For any of these different fixtures, we actually have a number of different places we could put them. Like take, for example, these beam fixtures, okay? This is one of the cool new features, by the way, in Capture, these shapeshifters, okay? I've got them here on this truss, and I can point them over at the stage. I can point them to any of the people on the stage, but we could do much more than that. So what if we take them to the backdrop, behind everybody? I mean, sure, I'm going to take over in the console. Sure, it's not like the most engaging thing ever, but it's definitely a unique and different look to have a little bit of tilt, to have something in the air there. We can also take them, light them back up here, and we could point them at the walls. Use them to highlight the walls or even the ceiling of this space if I can get them to go up there. And create 4 or 5 different looks out of one set of lights. Let's take the next set of lights. We'll add it in. So we've got these Roby BMFLs. Look at the impact of just turning those on or off. And this is one of the biggest things about a large venue, is being able to take some lights that you've got, and we'll pan tilt them here, and use them to highlight different spaces. Like here, highlighting the area just in front of the stage, highlighting that audience area. Then going ahead, and we could actually fan on our pan here. Get these guys to point out, highlight the walls a little bit, right? Tilt these down. Okay, not a perfect focus, but now we're blanketing the walls with light and the ceiling areas, right? And during different songs, different parts of your show or service in a large venue, you typically have more places to put patterns. Grabbing these lights back again, we've put them in the audience, we've put them behind the band, we've put them in the air. If you've got haze, that's just wonderful. But then also, there are these set pieces on this stage. And if we fire them back and get the set pieces, we can light up the set pieces. And we can also light up the backdrop. And so already, just thinking of physical positions around the space, you can get so many more options in a large venue that you might not have in a smaller venue. Having that airspace gives you some room to breathe and gives you some room to really have some negative space. And I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of negative space, actually. It's a concept from art class that I remember that really talks about using black, using areas where there isn't light. Because ultimately, right now, there's not light in the audience. I brought it back in there a minute ago. I'll probably bring it back in another minute in my show. Using different spaces around the room and making them negative space creates a bigger impact when you later go ahead and bring in that light, bring in that positive space, okay? So let's dive a little deeper here. Okay, so that's another set of lights. Now let's go bring in our cyc lights. Those could be on or off, right? And so when you're lighting for a larger space, you typically have all this space around you, all these areas that you can light. And I want you to take advantage of that, right? Don't get stuck thinking, oh man, I just got to point the stuff at the stage, make some different patterns with the lights, etc. Think about all the different places you can put lights. Even though, sometimes you're going to take a set of lights, and I take these ACL 360s in this rig. Nice rig, by the way. Thanks to Capture for this demo file. I take those guys, and where'd they go? Right there. And I can take them back and point them at the backdrop. I can, and they'll go there, right? They'll go there all day long. And on the backdrop, once they get there, they're a bunch of circles. They're not the most appealing. But, I take them there. Maybe I go ahead and I pop a little effect on them, just something really subtle. Slow that way down. Make it a lot smaller. But I just take these guys. I put a little effect on them up there. Let's go ahead and offset it a little. So I put a little effect on them. We'll slow it down. Well, it's not going to be perfect, right? Happy little effects. Let's slow it down a little. And now I could use that in a song, right? And so there's so many ways, especially when you have a larger venue, that I want you to take advantage of. The point of this video is don't just make yourself use the stage. Don't just give yourself the stage and the backdrop and think, okay, I've got these lights for the backdrop, these lights for the backlight, these lights for the stage, etc. Use the entire space. Use the audience. Point lights around. The great thing about working in a large venue is, especially these days, you often have more moving lights than not. And use that to your advantage. Make sure, of course, that you're lighting the things you need to for the cameras, for people to see, etc. But after that, throw out the rule book. Don't be afraid to use a wash or beam fixture to highlight a backdrop. It might not be the perfect thing, but it's different. And it creates that really interesting dynamic look that creates more fun on stage. I hope you enjoyed today's tip. And if you did and you're new to lighting, hop over to Learn Stage Lighting, grab our free guide to begin with lighting. And then we'll see you guys in our next video, where we're going to talk about more things when it comes to programming, when it comes to making a great show. We'll see you guys there. Thanks.